Joining us now here in the Situation Room, Egypt's ambassador to the United States, Mohammed Tawfiq. He was actually appointed by the ousted President Morsi, but you now support this new government in Egypt. Is that correct, Mr. Ambassador?
That's correct.
All right, I want you to hear what John Kerry, the Secretary of State, said today, in part reacting to a very bloody day in Cairo.
Today's events are deplorable, and they run counter to Egyptian aspirations for peace, inclusion, and genuine democracy. Egyptians inside and outside of the government need to take a step back. They need to calm the situation and avoid further loss of life.
What's your reaction to the Secretary of State?
I think that we have made it very clear. The Prime Minister gave a statement this afternoon, and he said that we have put into place a roadmap for the future and that we are committed to respecting that roadmap.
Are you upset with the U.S. response? Because the U.S. response clearly is deploring what the government is doing, the security forces, in addition to what the opposition is doing as well, but certainly blaming the military, the security forces for so much of this violence.
Listen, I'm not going to comment on the U.S. position. What I will say is that this was not a solution that anyone is happy with. The loss of life is something that we all mourn very, very seriously. However, the fact, as you just said, 43 police officers were killed. That is not a peaceful demonstration. This is a very serious thing. Today there are news that they found mass graves in the sit-ins. This is something, in the past few days there were reports about people that were abducted and tortured and killed there.
By the supporters of Mohammed Morsi?
Of course, by the supporters of Mohammed Morsi. And the fact that you have, it is true that the majority of the people in the sit-ins, they were not armed, but you had armed people, well-trained people among them. So in fact, they were using these people as human shields.
Where did they get these arms?
Well, that's a very good question. And I'm sure we have to find out.
So what's your suspicion?
Well, my suspicion is that they have been preparing arms caches for a long time. But,
so are we on the verge in Egypt of a civil war?
No, a civil war happens when you have two equal sides. In Egypt, you have the entire Egyptian population on the one hand and the Muslim Brotherhood on the other.
The Muslim Brotherhood represents a big percentage of the people of Egypt, and Morsi won with 52% of the vote, as you remember.
Of course, but he won with the votes of people who were not Muslim Brotherhood members. The Muslim Brotherhood is not the majority of Egyptians. And after today, after they have seen the attacks on the churches, 7 churches were torched down. When they have seen the attacks, 21 police stations were attacked by gunmen. The police officers were killed, and after they were killed, their bodies were mutilated. When the people of Egypt have seen this, I don't think they're going to have a lot of support.
Mohammed el-Baradei, the former Nobel Peace Prize winner, the former head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, well known to me, well known to you, he was in the government. He opposed Morsi, but he resigned today because he said he can't take it anymore. What's your reaction to that?
That's a personal position on his part. I think he can comment on that better than I. What I can say is that the vast majority of Egyptians support the measure that the government took today. It was not certainly what we would have desired, but it became very clear that any alternative to that would have caused even more casualties. So, again, as the Prime Minister said, this is something that we had to do because we had to do it, not because we wanted to do it.
Here's what, obviously I'm a journalist. A lot of journalists were hurt today as well, trying to cover what's going on, including one photographer who used to work for CNN was killed in the action. Is there an effort by the security forces, whether military or police, to go after the media to try to shut them down?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. What was happening is you had shooting from the side of the Muslim Brotherhood. They had people on rooftops shooting. When you have that sort of situation, then you don't know who's going to get hurt. Certainly, there have been warnings from the security people in Egypt two journalists to take care as much as they could. I know people get taken by all the action and they want to be right into it, but it's something that certainly we feel very sorry about.
As you know, the U.S. military, the Egyptian military, every year they have Operation Bright Star, which is a huge military exercise in Sinai to show the cooperation between these two militaries. Have you been informed by the Obama administration, by the Defense Department, that that is being canceled for the coming weeks?
No, I have not been informed of something.
Do you expect them to go forward, this operation?
Well, that's a matter that is left to the two militaries to decide based upon their operational considerations.
But it would be a serious blow if the U.S. said, we're not doing Bright Star this year.
It would be a serious blow to both sides, because this is an operation that basically benefits both sides.
See what happens. Mr. Ambassador, thanks for coming in. We'll stay in close touch with you. And as someone who's been to Egypt many times, I hope things quiet down and get under control over there.
I'm confident that we're going to be able to handle this.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.